I know what you were thinking. Right, what's he up to, I hear you ask? I'll show you what he's up to. That probably would have been better being done in position, because it's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be, providing I don't spill it, of course. I want that up there. Right, so let's move the camera so you can see what I'm up to. Going up. Right, so what I've got is a deep tray of water. So far so good? There's method in this madness. Let's get the hose out. Dribbling all over the place. Right, now I'll explain the theory. What we're going to do is that. And that. And I should be able to get another one in. Right, let me explain. In the bottom of the pots was crocking, yeah? And in the bottom of the pots there are holes, drainage holes. That's where the bugs get, and that's where they tend to stay. With any luck now, they're drowning, yeah? And in addition to that, those pots are going to stay there, away from the edge, until after I turn the lights off tonight, when it's dark and cooler. And at that point I will come out with a torch and I will individually search over these plants and see if there's anything around the tops of the pots and the leaves, on the grounds that slugs and snails can't get out of there because there's water in the tray. So if they try and come down the edge of the pot, they'll be in a tray of water. Yeah? So that's the theory. Now I brought this up here so that I could sort of explain this. I am going to put it back on the floor simply because the leaves are touching things, yeah? Which means slugs and snails could get off the leaves like onto the glass or onto the curtain, whereas if it's in the middle of the floor there's nowhere they can get without going through that water. So that's the plan, yeah? Now, I will probably not get them all. I'll probably miss some, yeah? But that's what I decided to do to try and deal with slugs and snails. The pots are actually quite dry, so they can soak some of that up as well. Save me watering them tomorrow. So that's the idea. Now, I was going to have a good look over these for spikes and things like that, but believe it or not, it is actually starting to get dark and it's tea time and I haven't had tea yet. I've been on the phone to somebody and sorting some stuff out for the show on Saturday. So yeah, I can't bring them all in because the tray's not big enough, so I'm going to do 3 today and hopefully do the rest tomorrow. There's two, yeah. The one that still possibly might have a virus is coming in, but it'll have to be last. yeah, on its own. Yeah, so I'll bring the other two big ones and the little miniature one in. I'll have to put that on something because the whole pot will disappear in there, and we'll do those tomorrow, and then I'll have to do the one that's possibly virused on its own just in case. So that's the plan. As I said, slugs and snails tend to come out, you know, as it cools down after dark. That's what they tend to do. So the idea is to force them, you know, when they do that, when they come out, if there are any, there might not be any. They're more likely to be small ones anyway. The idea is to find them with a torch in the dark. So that's the plan. And I hope it works. I mean, in previous years, when the Cymbidium or Cymbidiums have been outside, I've just brought them in and risked it. And round the other place, I used to get slugs and snails occasionally, used to get in anyway, because it wasn't a sealed unit like this one is. It, you know, it literally had ways in, because it just wasn't a, you know, it was a timber structure. It had gaps around the door. There were all sorts of ways they could get the inlet and the outlet fan. They could get in through there for a start. So it wasn't a sealed unit like this one is. They don't get in here. But they can come in on plants from outside. So that's my plan, is to isolate them. Hopefully any that were in the bottom of the pot, they're not exactly fast movers, are they? And if they were in amongst that crocking, hopefully they would drown prior to being able to try and get up through that media, which is pretty compacted, you know. So I think I may have dealt with the bottom of the pot successfully, and anything that is in amongst the leaves or in the top of the media or anything like that, I'll hopefully find with the torch, on the grounds that there's nowhere else for them to go but up. They can't go down because the water's in the way. So that was my plan, that was my idea, and that's what I'm up to. So I'm going to have to carefully lift that now down onto the floor. I just wanted it up here so that we could sort of see. There are some spikes to look at some point. As I said, we will have a good look over these at some point. But the plan at the moment is to hopefully, you know, get rid of any slugs and snails and possibly wood lice that are jammed in the bottom of the pot, which is where they hide. And any that are in amongst the base of the plant or anything, hopefully find with a torch after dark. And any that I miss, well, I've at least tried. That's the plan. And then these are in then. We've just got to find somewhere to put them. The largest ones are going to have to go on the black tables, where the one in bloom is at the moment. I have a third table, and I might have to bring that in which case we will then have a table that has to continuously be moved when I'm watering, because it will be in the way, because it would need to go somewhere like there. Yeah, so and there's the ones that aren't that tall are going on that bottom shelf down there behind that purple bag. That's my rubbish bag. I put dead leaves and bits of bark and stuff like that in there, so that I don't have to keep clearing up all the time. I just wait till the bag's full. So that's the plan, and yeah, I thought it was quite a good idea, sinking them in water that's plenty deep enough to get well up above any crocking or anything into the media, so they're like trapped. Yeah. But the media isn't a solid mass, so it would allow the air, if there was any in the bottom of the pot, to come up through the media, allowing the water to soak up the pot to the level in the tray. Hopefully before anything escapes. So hopefully in the bottom of the pot all there'll be is bodies. That was my cunning plan, and now I need to go and get some food. What else was I going to say? Yes, there's a big thank you. Somebody actually sent me some money into my private PayPal account as an incentive to go to Burnham's. Well, I will make sure it gets used to bring something back from Burnham's as a contribution towards an orchid or whatever, probably an orchid. So thanks very much. And I do have a query, I must admit, because that was paid direct into my PayPal account, which needed my private email address, not the one that goes with the channel. Quite sure how that happened, but as long as it doesn't go any further, then fine. But yeah, thanks a lot for that, and as I said, we will use that at Burnham's on Sunday as an incentive to go to Burnham's. Well, I did sound a bit dubious on Sunday, didn't I, in the Sunday chat, as to whether I really would end up going or not, but I will. Lynn's pretty sure she's coming now. So yeah, we'll go as a pair and hopefully have a good time. And there's another thing I wanted to say that I forgot on Sunday as well. Oh well, perhaps another time. Anyway, I hope you like the idea with the Cymbidiums to hopefully do my best to get rid of, you know, bugs, things like that. Quite honestly, the insecty type bugs I'm not that worried about. I'll deal with them as and when I find them, and I don't think there are any. The birds in the garden, the small birds, they go over my bonsai and the orchids looking for insects, so I think they keep them quite clean, you know, so they're probably not covered in those type of bugs. Certainly nothing visible anyway. I mean, the leaves look perfectly clean. Not a sign of any problems. Anyway, I've got to go and get some tea now, so thanks for dropping by, and hope you like the idea. Might be something that you might want to try if you've got orchids to come back indoors. Need to be orchids that don't mind half the pot sitting in water for an amount of time. You know, obviously that's, you know, these were quite dry actually. They'd have got the hose on them if they were still outside tomorrow. But now they're inside, they can be watered properly with some proper feed. Because all the feed they've had through the summer is the slow release pellets basically that I got specifically for my bonsai trees. It's just a 555, so it's just a basic feed. But that's what they've been having through the summer anyway, is the slow release stuff, because it was just easiest. Because I water them with the hose, I'd have to feed them entirely separate, if you see what I mean. So I thought if I put slow release on the top of the pot, use the hose, then at least they get some food. And they seem to have grown well, you know, so it must have worked okay. But yes, I think I'll get some of the proper orchid feed in there at a high level to make sure they've got a dose of the other nutrients apart from the 555, the NPK. We make sure we get some calcium, magnesium and all those little micronutrients in there, because they may not have had much of that. I mean, there's some things in tap water, because obviously with the hose it's tap water, not RO water. So they have been getting some of that as well. But yeah, so there we go, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.